And now, enabling entrepreneurship today, a conversation with eBay. Please welcome serial entrepreneur and managing partner, Harlem Capital Partners, John Henry.
Check. Hey guys, how you feeling? Feels great to be here. My name's John Henry, and I'm an entrepreneur and investor. And I was fortunate to start my company, my first company, about 6 years ago. And since then, I've been thinking and working with early stage companies about 99.9% of my time. Through now an incubator that I run, and also as a venture capitalist at a minority-owned venture firm. And the unique thing that affords you when you work with not just one company as an entrepreneur, but when you work as an investor or as someone who runs an accelerator, you begin to develop these macro perspectives of how entrepreneurship can serve as an economic engine to the city. And so anyhow, somewhere along that road, I was invited to host a podcast for eBay, who's also passionate about serving as a resource for entrepreneurs. And I've been traveling all across the country, interviewing different eBay entrepreneurs, and I've been stunned to see that some of them are mom and pop shop owners, but some of these folks have created multi-million-dollar businesses. And so today we're gonna have a blitz discussion as we set up our main panel that comes in just a few minutes. But the subject here is enabling entrepreneurship. What does that mean? Why is it important? What does that look like in 2017? And so I'm gonna welcome our panelists on stage. We have two very interesting and dynamic entrepreneurs. We have Bradford Shellhammer, whom Fast Company called him one of the 100 most creative people in business, and has founded a couple different companies and is now at eBay. And we have Alberto Sobalvarro, who runs a web service that connects US brands to Latin American shoppers. Would you guys please help me welcome our fellow panelists?
Thank you.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Brooklyn.
You guys look great.
It sucks out there.
So let's get into it right away. Marketplaces, technology, how big of a role is it playing in your personal day-to-day and in entrepreneurship as a whole in this, kind of ever-changing landscape? Alberto, why don't you start with you?
Well, for us, technology and marketplaces enable Latin American consumers, like you said, get anything from the US. So just a little context, for everybody here, having an iPhone or a phone is second nature. In where I come from, Guatemala, buying an iPhone online was not possible until we developed and used the technology in the marketplaces to enable those consumers to get iPhones. So now we're just opening up markets for US brands and bringing or bridging the gap for those consumers to access inventory.
What about you, Bradford? You started a couple of e-commerce companies in the past, and now you work for an e-commerce company.
I work for one of the big guys now.
You work for one of the big guys. So what's that been like to see the change first on the micro and now on the macro?
I mean, me joining eBay was actually kind of a homecoming in a way, because the two companies that I did found were very much inspired by my hunt for awesome stuff. I hate this idea of a world where we all consume the same thing. And I'm 40 years old, and I grew up formative years in the 90s, and it was this time of big box retailers just coming in and putting out of business anything special, any kind of special store, music shops, fashion stores. And for me, I always resented that for some reason, and dedicated my life for about 10 years to try to give people alternatives to kind of this mass market, horribly made crap. And so my eBay, which is a unique thing. eBay is a great thing because it means something different than everyone. We all have a special passion or a unique thing, all of us eBay customers. And so my eBay is the place where you can find those things that other people don't have, that may be heirlooms, that may have been last season, that may have been something special. And so personally for me, it's been a welcome homecoming. Well, I love though what you said, and it's why I feel I have one of these jobs where I get to feel good about going to work every day, because like there is an ethos and a mission to the eBay brand that is very much based on people and accessibility to stuff, to things, to commerce, to even livelihoods. And so I love the mission of your company. It's to give access to people who did not have access before. And I feel like at eBay's heritage has a similar message, I believe.
Well, I want to build off that because we're seeing a lot of innovation. We're also seeing a lot of consolidation with big companies acquiring small companies, and it's just turning into a landscape of like a handful of big players. What does that mean for the little guy who's starting up? Like, how does this mass consolidation affect your everyday?
Well, I think as the little guy speaking, I think it's great, the access to technology and what's going on, because little guys, if you stick to your vision, like we have, and if you stick to solving the problem that you want to solve, the fact that we're the little guys makes us a lot more agile and a lot more versatile in responding to technology trends and the way millennials or whoever's moving, in what directions they're moving. So it's very important for us to be agile, to keep fast, and it gives us an edge versus big corporations. And so the best thing we found about the program we participated in Friends of eBay was eBay recognized this agility that the little guy has, and bringing us in to partner up with them and work together because we can move faster than they can in certain respects, gives it a whole lot better vision on how big corporations should tackle technology and focus on what they can do great as a big corporation, and also have a wider vision of business, partnering with small businesses that can enable them to move faster in other directions as well.
And for context there, I think what Alberto was mentioning is that there's a corporate accelerator within eBay and other large companies called Friends of eBay, where I think they keep their eyes out for brilliant talent, bring them in-house. So Brad, over to you. Now, as a guy who was once, entrepreneur scrapping it out, and now you're on the big guy side, what does this mean? Like, what do you think this consolidation means for the little guys, and how do you think they should embrace what's happening in the marketplace?
Well, I mean, when I think about the little guy for me, 10 years ago, I was intoxicated by this culture of startups and founders and unicorns, and everyone's going to be filthy rich, and it's the Wild West, and it's like,
I'm still there, man.
I'll be real honest. That stuff implodes, and it's a lot of I'm really inspired by people who actually build scrappy businesses that are focused on profitability from day one, and not about borrowing other people's money to do that. And I believe that there's probably a healthy middle somewhere where it makes sense. But I'm shocked, and I was a part of this world, that there's such disdain for economics of a real business. And so I used to idolize these people that I think were chasing fame and fortune more than they were about building companies and solving problems. And now, like, what I spend my day doing, literally, is creating tools for small businesses, essentially, and real people to keep their lights on and to grow their businesses. And that, for me, is ultimately a much more rewarding experience day to day than it ever was being a founder of a company. At the same time, I've developed a real respect for people who have small businesses. They're the heroes to me, not CEOs of big companies.
From my seats as an investor and someone who kind of bridges the gap between startup and big guy, I think it's incredibly important for these big companies to enable, invest in, acquire smaller companies as they're coming up. Although, and I still haven't arrived at a well thought out conclusion, but I am scared of all the consolidation. Like, all these acquisitions is really going to leave room for just like 3 or 4
Yeah, but the consumer won't care, because I'll be honest, like, especially a millennial customer, a younger customer does not care about a brand. They actually turn their backs on them. So the bigger you get, I think
More
in the
economies of
future,
scale.
the less sexy you're going to be. Now that from industry to industry, that obviously means something different. But in my world, fashion, design, furniture, home, furnishing, sports goods, people don't want the big guy stuff. It's mass-produced, it's inauthentic, it's kind of crap. And so, look at what's happening in physical retail and in fashion. It's like these brands are shuttering daily. The great thing about the internet and marketplaces and eBay is just one part of it, but is that we have access to everything. And hopefully in America we do. I mean, maybe I take that for granted, but and having access to everything means that I think it's going to be the reverse. It's going to be little brick and mortar and mom and pop shops that are collectively going to start putting some of these bigger companies out of business. And so it's almost like David and Goliath, and I'm ready. I'm welcome for it.
So let's segue right into common misconceptions about entrepreneurship. I love to get into those. Alberto, give me your take. What do you think some of the most common misconceptions about entrepreneurship is right now?
Well, so my background is the complete opposite from Brad. I started at big corporations, and I quit my job and my career to start a business and become an entrepreneur. You'll read on social media, it's like, yeah, these are the 5 books Bill Gates recommends for every entrepreneur, and Facebook recommends, Zuckerberg recommends. And I think there's a lot of crap around being an entrepreneur, and the misconceptions are both ways. So they'll tell you have freedom of time, schedule, be your own boss, all that crap. For me, I'm
You
a
don't
father
work 4 hours a week?
I quit my career, father of 3, living in Latin America, going into an ecosystem that doesn't, or a space that doesn't really exist. So misconceptions go both ways, and for me it's more of you build your dream, you build your idea, stay true to what you're looking to solve as a problem, not be money driven all the time. Money's really important, but not the only thing that you should be driving for. And just make sure you know that your big picture and what you're trying to solve and where you're trying to get at is the way you want to head, and just keep true to that vision.
Awesome. Brad?
I would say, I'm going to be a Debbie Downer here a little bit, but I think a common misconception of kind of the technology startup scene is that it's a bunch of these brilliant people with great ideas, and the reality of it is it's a bunch of privileged people who had an opportunity to create companies. Oftentimes the people who were not afforded that luxury don't have the opportunity to bring really great ideas to market. So I was shocked in my time in that world with how little original thought there was, which says to me why again, making payroll and paying your people and actually putting money in the bank every month is a much more, it should be something that's celebrated a lot more than just I have a flash of the pan idea and I'm going to try to get rich quick. And
how you measure success.
I'm not saying that's what you.
No, I know.
Because we need more companies from non-traditional founders, really solving problems that weren't just born into it, and so those are the kind of businesses I want to hear more about.
That answer struck me at my core. I'm running a firm now where 50% of our capital is allocated to diverse founders, so women, minorities, LGBTQ, veterans, because we believe so strongly that there is immense amounts of untapped potential. And if you can tap those, imagine how much of a different perspective these founders have. They bring different solutions to the marketplace. And not only is it the right thing to do, but it makes damn good business sense, too.
I mean, it's just shocking. It's you think about some of these companies and the person they're targeting, and the makeup of within those companies look nothing like the people that are eventually going to buy the product or use the service. And how can you build something for somebody that without having that point of view internally? It's shocking to me.
You can't.
And I think that those kind of startups days are numbered too, because you see them imploding left and right.
Okay, here we go. Innovations that you're excited about 2017 and maybe in the next 6, 12, 18 months. Go.
I'm going to sound repetitive, I guess, or something, but something that's really impacting us and driving our business is...
Where is your business based out of, by the way?
We're based out of operations in Guatemala, corporate out of Panama.
Got it.
And the thing that's driving us mostly right now is how we can maximize the use of machine learning and artificial intelligence to build a transparent import process, aid government, transparency, reduce corrupt policies. So any technology that's allowing us to build that kind of ecosystem to really drive what we call borderless e-commerce. So for Pidelo Rapido is no longer a cross-border e-commerce platform. It's borderless. It doesn't matter where the inventory is at. We can get it delivered to you. And those kinds of technologies, driving transparency to accelerate and clear out the import processes, are what's driving our business.
Last one, Brad.
I think the innovation I'm most excited about is the anti-innovation, is that old school retailing is coming back to e-commerce. It's not about lowest common denominators, who can ship it the fastest. It's actually about presentation, authentic voice, a story to be told, and I'm excited that we're kind of going backwards in a way rather than moving forward. Yeah, image recognition, AI, all this stuff, but it's old school retailing is coming back to e-commerce.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, guys. I think that's all we have for you. Why don't you guys help me
Thank you.
give a hand to these panelists.
Thanks. You were...
And now,